I'm engaged. How do I get married? I'm your host, Kevin Dennis. In addition to leading the charge at Wedding IQ, I also run Fantasy Sound Event Services, a lighting and entertainment company based in Livermore, California, that I founded over 35 years ago. Each week on this podcast, we'll explore a new corner of the wedding planning so you can prepare for your I-dos without the stress. From budgeting to booking vendors to day of drama, let's talk smart wedding planning. All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Now That I'm Engaged, How Do I Get Married? As always, we have our wonderful co-host August with us, but we have a very special guest here, Jen Sulak. I think I said it right the second time. So here to talk to us about courthouse weddings are not boring. So I'm really excited to kind of jump into this and really, because I've never been a part of a courthouse wedding. So I feel like I'm here to learn and just learn with everyone else as we go. So Jen, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself? How did you get here today? And then we'll jump into some questions.
Well, hi, everybody. My name is Jen. I'm with Weirdo Weddings Photography. And how I ended up here today, well, it's been a long time going, 17 years in now. I'm 4 years into my newest brand called Weirdo Weddings. And it has just been such a pleasure to see couples out there making decisions, getting married. But it all started with also me becoming a bride as well. And never hiring a photographer, having 0 photos that I really liked. Maybe 3. Okay, I liked maybe 3 photos. But 19 years ago, totally different landscape in photography. But I just figure I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure people get the memories they want. So that's kind of how I ended up here. And now I'm out here talking about topics that are a little bit on the abstract side, not necessarily always in the normal pathway. I like talking about things that are different. And I like living things that are different too, especially with my couples.
That's exciting. So just out of curiosity, how did we come up with the name Weirdo Weddings?
Okay, so Weirdo Weddings came out of my fine art community that I've been a part of for years. And we always call ourselves weirdos because we have conceptual work we do. We have weird ideas. We go execute those weird ideas. And sometimes they come out in weird formats of all different kind of mixed media. And so I thought to myself, when pandemic happened, I was like, well, I still want to serve my people, but I don't know really who they are. You know how they tell you in business, you need to find your people. Find your people. And I was like, but I don't know who they are. And the more I thought about it, I'm already been working with a whole bunch of weirdos. And I'm just like, I might as well just call it what it is.
You want them to gravitate towards you.
Absolutely. And as you know, that word could be 50% thinks I'm a little nuts and 50%'s like, you're my people. Yeah. And that's what I'm here for, is just to meet the people that I know I'm supposed to meet under this brand. So it's super fun.
No, I totally get it. I'm an Apple nerd, and that's why I have a bunch of friends that are Apple nerds, and we call ourselves, the nerds of the Apple world. But anyway, yeah. So I totally appreciate it. So, all right, as we jump in to questions here, the biggest one is I'm really kind of curious is, why do you love courthouse weddings? So much?
You know what's great? Being the photographer, the aspect of the courthouse wedding is short and sweet. And a lot of times the ceremonies, even if the judge is really talkative, he's going to be done in 15, 20 minutes. And then you're like, well, what do I do now that you're married? Well, I like to come in and say, let's go across the city. Let's do a photo shoot. Let's go maybe set up a dinner or something. So I love them because they are super short and sweet. And there's, for me, I live in the North Texas area. So I feel like I get the access to certain architecture I wouldn't normally get access to. Like it's a city building. It's got, the courthouse area. It's sometimes the architecture on the outside is really awesome. And then you can work with the city that you're in, or the city that you're getting married in. But I love it for that reason. That's the reason why I love weddings, is because I'm doing 4 to 5 different kinds of photography during a wedding. So even if it's a courthouse wedding, I'm already thinking, okay, how about the building? How about the area? How about this idea? How about this idea? And especially if the couple is already familiar with the city and they already do things in the city, then that's a great opportunity for me to say, let's take an hour to an hour and a half just to do a photo session of all the things that you love about your city.
Yeah, especially in Dallas there, the downtown area is so beautiful. It really is pretty. So I can see.
There's endless ideas down here.
Yeah.
And do you feel like with courthouse weddings, you kind of get a more intimate relationship with the couple because you're kind of going off on your own instead of to a wedding reception?
Very intimate. And what I've noticed is folks that decide to get married at a courthouse, they'll either invite nobody
Oh,
or
really?
they'll invite 20 plus people, depending on how much the courtroom can hold. So in that respect, I do love the intimacy of it because you're in and out. You're not worried about your reception. If you have a reception plan, that's different. But a lot of the times the folks going to the courthouse literally just want to get to the courthouse, have that celebration moment, and then they're done for the rest of the day. And they can go do whatever they want, however they want, with whomever they want.
I totally love that. So how can couples make the courthouse wedding more personal?
So I like to say, start with whatever outfits you want to put together. Now, me as the photographer, I'm thinking about you expressing yourself because obviously if you're watching this, you see that I express myself. I don't expect everybody to express like me, but when you show up to your wedding in a little sundress in wintertime, that's fine. Okay, if you want to get married in a blue dress that's, whatever, in a suit, whatever. Like I like starting with the outfits first because whatever you're going to wear is what I'm going to photograph, and that's going to make what we consider a very boring courtroom cute.
Yeah.
Because I have yet to see a cute courtroom. Now, it's like I can make it cute with my weird ways, but if you bring your ideas for your attire, I think it's super fun to make it. That's the personalization, as well as not just the vows that you might read when you're in front of the judge, but any judge is going to guide you through your own like vows per se, and then you bring your own personal effects to it.
I mean, I feel like that probably is the best way to add color to a courtroom like that.
Seriously.
Do you see couples a lot of times get excited about their outfits beforehand and share them with you before the day of?
I always ask them. I'm that person. I'm that
You're like, I want to know.
Send me all of your things, because then I'm nerding out with their ideas. And I feel like I just finished one, not a courthouse wedding, but I finished one this last weekend that had little Star Wars implements put into it.
Oh, how awesome.
And I thought to myself, if you have something in your outfit, you have cufflinks, you have a saber, you have all this other fun things that you could do that represent galaxy and celestial and Star Wars, then why not take that to your courthouse wedding and make it more interesting? I had somebody do a courthouse wedding in a full-on wedding ball gown. So she was not shy. She was not shy to just show up as you would at maybe a church or a big event center or, all of these wonderful venues out here. I personally think that I'm like, just give me all the details so I can conceptualize before we even get there. That would be fun, but it's not always required. I sometimes already know the courthouse, and then I'll walk in and I'll like, oh, let's just go do this, and this, and we'll make your outfit work with it.
Have you seen any other fun ideas kind of similar to Star Wars that couples have brought into their weddings?
I'm trying to think. Not necessarily overly thematic right now. That's another reason why I wanted to talk about this, is because I don't think people realize that they can do that at a courthouse. And that's the reason why I started this topic, is like, it's not boring because it's you guys. You guys made the decision to go make it official. You can make it as, eccentric and awesome as you want. The point is somebody going to be there to capture it. So I haven't had anything super overly thematic, but like I said, I had the ball gown. I had one lady who was in more like South Dallas. We went to the courthouse and she had these beautiful flowers. And not only that, she had a flower crown made at the same time.
Oh,
wow.
Had a beautiful gown with a flower crown and matching flowers. And I think they just invited the parents. That was like 3 people that showed up. And so the group photos were like, took 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
But I like that when people, they don't let themselves be defined by the courthouse. When they go beyond what I feel like they would do instead of just showing up in their casual wear, when they take it up a notch, I mean, the possibilities are endless, honestly.
Do you feel that sometimes like couples come to you and you can see that they want to express their individuality but are a little scared to do it? And you definitely seem like someone who values self-expression. Do you have ways of kind of bringing out people's getting them out of their shell and getting excited about their courthouse wedding?
Yeah, I do a lot of talking with them about what they really want. And then I start there because I don't want to encourage them to do something they're really uncomfortable with. Like if they're a kind of person that does not want the attention on them, they may not want anything else besides just showing up. But what I have noticed with all of my clients is that I just let them talk to me about things they're genuinely interested in. And it's usually ideas that they've been thinking about for a while. And so I just kind of talk it out with them and see if it works. For me, photographically, I'm always going to try to infuse something in there. But if it doesn't work logistically with your day, then we have to talk about it more. But those are for the traditional weddings. But for a courthouse wedding, I feel like you can infuse a lot of different things and ideas into that little bit of time slot that we have together to make it their own. And I think that's really what I do is just sit and listen. And then if I hear something that sounds really good visually, then I'll kind of encourage that because I can tell them the possibilities in my head, what I see. And then if we all start to see the same thing, then it's like, yeah, let's go do that.
The excitement builds up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very similar when it's very intimate and you're not having to cater to 30 different opinions versus the couple and the photographer putting in an opinion, That's
funny you say that, Jen. We've been talking about that a lot on the podcast recently, is figuring out how to manage, the 30,000 opinions that come with the day of. So I guess this is a great way to kind of, get around that.
You're going to get people telling you what to do no matter what you decide to do.
That's
so
fair,
even the courthouse wedding, especially if you run off and elope to the courthouse and nobody knows, they're going to be like, they're going to yap at you because they weren't there. And then you're going to, slap back at them like, no, I really wanted it to just be us. I don't want any attention whatsoever. And so it's kind of like, it goes back and forth, every couple is so different.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think courthouse weddings get a bad rap for being boring?
I think one of the reasons for sure is I don't think people see the beauty in simplicity. They want to go over the top. This is not something against all the people that want to do the over the top weddings with the hundreds of people or, the big venues and the all inclusiveness of everything. I think there's this beauty and simplicity that it's okay. And I think we haven't embraced that. We tend to forget that. We just kind of throw it off to the side as not an option, as to where I like to keep it in the mix. Like, if you really just need to go somewhere and get it done. And I can't tell you how many couples this year have already gotten married and then they had their wedding later.
I was going to ask you about that. I've seen a few friends like I used to go to school with, and then they had this like super cute like Vegas photo shoot just for the elopement, and it was darling. It was really cute. And then later on they had the bigger party.
Yeah, and that's been happening a lot this year for me, for my clientele. They have either gotten married already and then they planned the wedding later, or, there's all different ways they've approached it. And I think that, the courthouses, well, number one, like I said earlier, they can be a tad ugly on the inside. They can feel very like almost like the same feeling as going to a hospital room. You're like, oh, this is so uninspiring. But I like to think that if you're there with your partner and you're really in love and you can make it what you want to. And I think the wedding industry, also needs to remember there's a wide spectrum of events and ways to get married that we can't discount the courthouses because those can be very beautiful, intimate ceremonies. And I love that, again, people can make it however they want. They can make it as big as they want. They can get married and have a party later. They can get married and have a wedding later. Like get married and have a dinner. I mean, my friends in Fort Worth, they got married and they had a dinner. These are the people that invited like 20 to 30 people. And I was like, well, they're like, what are we going to do? And like, they got a cake and everything. I mean, I'm telling you, like, you can do these things. And as a photographer, I'm like, wherever you want to get married is where I will show up.
Yeah.
Right? It's like my job. Now, not everybody gets to be a part of a courthouse wedding. And maybe that's why it gets a bad rap, is because you're not going to use the planners and the designers and the DJ. I mean, like there's certain wedding vendors that might not get to participate in that, but that doesn't mean that you couldn't be at the after party. That doesn't mean you could be at the after wedding. I mean, I had a after wedding reception because I didn't fight for my dream cake, and so I got a sheet cake because I was tired of planning my wedding. But that's the kind of stuff, like, it's all good. Like, courthouse weddings are a legitimate way to get married.
Weddings are not one size fits all, and the more we've kind of been peeling back the onion, so to speak, it's like, everybody's different, and everybody wants a different outcome. Not everyone's been planning of that big, amazing, beautiful wedding, so it's amazing.
Yeah, and you have the people that, sometimes get married several times, for various circumstances. I had people get married in their 60s, and they were both widowed. I mean, that was the most beautiful love story.
Aww.
And they chose a big wedding instead of running off to the courthouse because they wanted to celebrate, because they didn't get to do that with their previous spouses. It's like all these little things that you can do to celebrate it your way.
That's really sweet, actually.
Yeah, and it's a very good way to just gauge where you are as a couple. And if a courthouse works for you, I can help you make it look cute.
Well, and there's almost like, I don't know, like a touch of romance just being there, the two of you, without a big crowd watching you. I know we talked about intimacy, but it definitely adds a touch of that to the day.
Yeah, because you're not distracted. Let's just be honest. Like, you're not distracted. And, recently I was walking through a few of these weddings, and I've had people just it's not so much that they were DIY, but they were hands-on. And when you're hands-on in your own wedding day, sometimes you don't get to enjoy it.
You're stressed the F out.
You're stressed. You're throwing things together. Even if you had people helping you, you're still like heavily involved. And I've had some people walk up to me after, almost when their wedding is over. They're like, I don't even think I enjoyed it. It just flew by. And I'm like, I felt terrible about that, because I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, how do we help people slow down to enjoy their own day? I mean, but a courthouse wedding, you have all the time in the world after you get married. Or even when you first get there, you can, take some time to just sit with each other. And I don't know, like, it is very romantic and sweet.
Definitely. Well, and I know today you kind of wanted to talk about not only courthouse weddings, but just elopements in general. Have you seen some like unique elopements recently, like locations or fun ideas?
Yeah, so a good chunk of what, and I'll tell you a small backstory about how I started Weirdo Weddings too, is that in order to get new content and fresh content quickly, I started doing styled shoot elopements, because for me, I had never explored the worlds of elopements before, because I was always waiting on the clientele to inspire me. And then I was like, wait, I'm the photographer. I'm not a wedding planner or an event coordinator or anything like that, but I can come up with ideas of where people can get married. So there's a lot of different people that will just run off to a park, right? Parks are not boring either. And then I have found recently some of my most favorite ways to run off is to these little art pop-ups.
Oh.
Yeah, they're super fun. One of my first styled shoots that I put together was over here at an art pop-up in Dallas. And I thought people could get married here. People could totally get married here. And there's, visual spaces and rooms. And that's another a style of elopement where you can go by yourself, or you can invite 10 to 15 people. And you show up and you do a fun photo shoot, and you get yourself a package that allows you some snacks and drinks, and you're good.
It's amazing.
But yeah, those are the ones that I really enjoy the most, is like, where can you get married that it feels like, first of all, like you? Second of all, can you get married there? Is it set up as a package?
Yeah.
Because sometimes an elopement literally is just an elaborate photo shoot for the couple, and it sometimes you just need an officiant to make it official, and then that's it, right? And then, it's pretty neat that you can take an officiant just about anywhere.
That's true.
Married.
Yeah.
And so some of my most favorite are the places that people don't think of. And
when you said that, I was thinking. So I'm a weirdo because I am from California, but I'm a huge Texas Rangers fan, and so I proposed to my wife at a game when we were there at the ballpark. Yeah. So we go every Saturday. And the more you're thinking about it, I'm like, I would have got married at the old ballpark. I love the old ballpark.
Yeah.
Because that's me, and that's personal to me. So
I mean, my husband proposed to me on Kid Craddock in the Morning, which is a local radio show here.
That's cute. I love that.
I was like, honey, you have two choices, Blue Man Group or the Kid Craddock in the Morning show. Well, Blue Man Group is not in Dallas, so we opted for the morning show. And then we just recently did our vow renewal on the air as well.
Oh, that's amazing.
I love that. It's so unique and I'm sure such a fun story to share with everybody too.
Imagine if you have something that you really truly love and you call them up and ask. There's nothing wrong with asking. If you have a favorite theater show, you have a favorite area of your city, the possibilities are endless. Just ask. That's all I'm gonna say.
I feel like since we've been talking to you today, I feel like a whole new world has opened up. It's
that's
just
my
stuff
job.
You wouldn't think about.
Yep, that's my job. Is I want people to think a little bit bigger because I'm of the opinion that I like doing a variety of weddings. I like photographing tons of different styles and themes and locations and lengths of time. I'm like, let's just be done in an hour and a half. And you've got your pictures and I've got a big smile on my face.
Exactly. That's cute. So what do you wish couples would know about having a courthouse ceremony or elopements going into it? What do you wish they would know that they don't know? I guess some kind of hurdles and roadblocks that you come up with.
Really, it's getting past, the fact that you don't think it's special enough. You don't think it's extravagant enough.
The stigma of it all.
I'm going to go back to simplicity is beautiful because yes, the courtroom may be a little bit on the ugly side, but there's also a lot of cool historical elements that you can bring to your courthouse wedding and just kind of have that thing in the back of your mind of we're going to get married here and this is why. And there's nothing wrong with it. And quite frankly, a lot of it's from the other voices telling you that it's stupid or it's boring, which is why I love the topic that I came up with, because I was like, everybody thinks it's boring. And I've had friends call me after they got married at the courthouse saying, well, we just got married at the courthouse. And I'm like, but do you realize you could have made it into something than just a JP?
Don't minimize that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm like, they're like, oh, we just did it. And I said, yeah, but it's a monumental moment. And me, I'm like, it's a monumental moment. We need to capture these things. Don't throw it under the rug because it wasn't a big, glorious celebration. I said, to me, any celebration. And if you're standing in front of somebody to make it official, that's a celebration.
100%. Well, I think people lose sight of that. It's everybody's love story is different. So, don't let everybody talk you out of it. It's you can make your own decision and otherwise you're going to just be, trying to please all of the family and friends and you're going to hurt somebody's feelings. That's one thing that people may need to realize is that they may get their feelings hurt. Okay. And it's all right because then you can talk with them and say, listen, this is where we are as a couple. This is how we want to do it. And I'm sorry your feelings are hurt, but this is how we wanted to do it. And then just tell them you'll have a party later.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a good way to shut them up, huh?
And you can help me plan it.
I mean, it's I know parents are having their expectations and dreams for their kids, right? And it's why not just, understand that they might be a little hurt, but it's a navigation of emotion that you can walk through together. You don't have to completely ignore them, but don't always listen to them too. It's make your own personal decisions. And I think you can make it as fun as you want to. And when you're navigating friends and family, just know that communication is going to be the top thing you're going to work on anyway.
A couple too, I feel like you don't want to look back at your wedding day with any type of regret. So if you have to hurt a few feelings along the way, sometimes that's just what you have to do.
Yeah, and for those of us recovering people pleasers, it's really hard to not let the guilt follow
It's
you
real.
into the room as you're standing there in front of your judge saying, "Oh, I wish so and so was here." You know what? You should have brought so and so there. It's okay. Call whoever you feel comfortable. Because my thing is like also for couples needing to navigate this is like, who do you want there to support you anyway? Do you want somebody there to support you? Do you want it to just be you two or, however you're setting it up? I think about the people that feel obligated to invite certain people because they're family. And I'm of the opinion now that like, just invite the people that really, truly love and support you, because otherwise they're going to bring that energy in there with them. And you're just going to be thinking about it the whole time.
Yeah, you don't want baggage following you.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's what a lot of people just with, when you have the big weddings, it's like I had to invite Aunt such and such, or I had to invite this
my fifth cousin.
Yeah, exactly. And they're all stressed out about it because there's some kind of bad blood there, and it's not worth it.
You spend more time trying to diffuse all of the situations than enjoying your own wedding, and I never have understood that, but I understand how it leads up to that. But I'm like, it just doesn't sound like fun to continually be diffusing things on your wedding.
No. I was, and then the whole time you've been thinking about this, I've been thinking like TV and movies have not done the courthouse weddings justice. I feel like, because it's like TV and movies, I think, give it that bad stigma that we were talking about, and don't glorify what it is. So
yeah, and I used to do we did a whole talking series back when we were all doing Clubhouse endlessly for hours. We were talking about wedding movies.
I forgot about Clubhouse. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Wedding movies we love, and we would go over every single movie and talk about the wedding. And you're right, like it's not a prominent topic of discussion in certain movies and culture. Like we just don't talk about it, and I think it's very interesting now that you brought that up too.
When you think nowadays, like 2024, that would be something we've kind of gotten past and talked about too.
Yeah, and I know that everybody was freaking out when the lockdowns were happening because, people couldn't have the big weddings, right? And so people then were still opening up their minds to the smaller things. And I was already working in the smaller things.
Yeah,
so, I'm working in these weddings that are, they're more Renaissance festival where they show up, they get married, and they have their however many people they want, but they also do the quick and easy, get married in the garden and you're done. It's just fascinating to me how many people really didn't have that, on their radar because they're so used to doing the bigger things.
Well, yeah. And I think COVID forced everyone. I mean, especially here in California where we're from, I mean, the world ended. I mean, you guys, at least in Texas, got to do a little bit of stuff more than we did. But I mean, we went almost a whole year without being able to do anything.
I know. I heard everything. I heard all the things from my friends. We were constantly talking about the state of the industry over a Clubhouse too. We were talking about everybody from coast to coast. And that's how I really learned the different, all the different wedding vendors out there, how we all handle things, how we all work different kinds of events. And they're all very valid and wonderful events. And that's what I found as I was locked in my house too with everybody. I was like, oh, I really like working weddings. I think I'm going to keep pursuing that.
Yeah. You mean you didn't want to become a real estate agent like everybody else did in the wedding industry?
That's too real.
Now, I've done data entry for most of my career as well in a different format. I was working data entry before I got laid off years ago. And so I was like, I just don't see that as a long-lasting profession for me. It's not very creative.
No, I totally get it. That's so funny. All right.
We want to get into our top tips.
I was like, tips.
Ooh.
I was like, yeah. I mean, the one I think I took out of it is I think you need to make it your own, go in there like that Star Wars thing or, whatever you're into. I think you make it your own and make it more personal and not just, next, rinse and repeat. Don't do the same thing over and over again. So that was kind of my biggest thing when Jen was talking, like, I'm like, make it your own, make it fun.
I think I kind of took away the, don't be afraid to ask. aspect of things.
Ooh, yeah.
Like you kind of talking about, anywhere can be a venue, really, as long as you ask. I mean, the worst they can say is no, right? So if it is a place or, a radio station, whatever is special to you, play around with the idea, I think, and, involve your photographer in that, because I'm sure they're probably very excited about the prospect as well.
And am I supposed to do my takeaway too?
Yeah, I would say if you got a tip.
Okay.
You'll be number 3. Come on.
My takeaway is to remember that simplicity is beautiful too. Just keep it simple.
Yeah, I like that one.
Keep it simple and sweet, and the more personalized is really it's just you showing up to your own space and you showing up as you and embracing all of who you are. And especially when you're making one of the biggest commitments you'll make in your whole life, to be with your person for ever and ever.
Oh, yeah.
Very cute. I'm really excited to ask you this question because we ask everyone what's their favorite part of a wedding, but I feel like your favorite part is going to be totally different than everybody else's.
Maybe.
Or maybe not, but I'm very curious, Jen, what is your favorite part of a wedding?
Okay, so I really do love the actual ceremony part, like, the vows, and I do a lot of hand fasting. So I really love when they're doing a hand fasting. I love watching the hand fasting. So I love that part of the wedding, but also if they've got cake, I'm ready for them to cut that cake and slice it. Give me a slice of your cake, please. So that's 2 of my favorite parts of the wedding.
There's a photographer I used to work with for many, many years, and she would live for the same thing. She goes, I'm only here for the cake. I'm really, she's like, I can't.
Photographed it. Once I photographed it, it's time to eat it. I mean, let's just go.
That's great. Jen, how would someone get in touch with you and how can they find you?
Absolutely. You can find me at Weirdo Weddings Photography on Facebook, and Instagram are my easiest. But I also have a beautiful website that's for all you weirdos out there. And it's, under weirdowedings.com. You can find me easily. I have a great system where I consult with you and talk about your day and see if we're a fit. And also, I love meeting other nerds. So
you're finding your people.
I am.
I think
one of my last couples this last weekend, they got married in little dino suits. It was adorable.
Oh, how cute.
I feel like you're going to have to send us those photos. I feel like I need to see that.
I will. They are adorable.
That's hilarious. We just went to a Halloween party and all the little kids walking around in their dino suits. It was
so cute.
Was cracking me up.
So cute. I went as Weird Barbie meets Jigsaw the Clown, the Billy.
Oh, there you go.
I wanted to ask you that because, for those who are watching and not listening, I feel like, Jen, you're very Weird Barbie today.
I do Weird Barbie. She's on my website now. I will come in character as your photographer to your wedding as Weird Barbie if you want me to.
Amazing. I love that.
All right. I gotta eventually watch this Barbie movie so I know all the references.
It will change your life.
The one time, that's all you need.
Yeah, because my daughters talk about it all the time, and I'm still. And you'll
see what I mean when you see Weird Barbie. You'll understand.
We all moved on from Barbie too fast. We need to go back to Barbie.
It's true. It's true.
It was so good. So good.
I want to do a whole presentation on just Weird Barbie alone, honestly. So I'm working on it.
You should do a styled shoot for Weird Barbie too.
Who plays Weird Barbie?
I did a steampunk styled
Kate
shoot.
McKinnon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I did a steampunkish kind of Barbie thing at Lizzie Gator that I work with a lot, but yeah, I haven't done that yet, the styled shoot. So.
How funny.
I like the jigsaw mix though. That's fun.
It was really fun. I drew my first spirals on my cheeks.
Oh yes, yeah.
And I've done Weird Barbie meets The Crow.
Oh.
From the original 1994 movie, and I've done Weird Barbie meets what was it? There was one more. I like meshing ideas. If you haven't noticed, like as a photographer, and especially for your theme weddings, I want to see you mix themes, and so I love mixing themes. So you'll see me do that a lot.
Have fun. All right. Well, Jen,
Beetlejuice. Yeah, I did Weird Barbie.
Beetlejuice is right now. Beetlejuice is all the rage. We actually had to watch the original with our kids so they can watch the second one. So. Oh,
I forgot one more. Weird Barbie and Wednesday Addams.
Oh.
I want to see that one. That sounds awesome.
It was cute.
I love me some Wednesday. That's a good show. All right. So, Jen, we can't thank you enough for being here and enlightening us on courthouse weddings. I mean, I had no idea I just didn't even think about it. So I appreciate you enlightening me and all our guests. And I want to thank all our guests for being here. I want to remind everyone to go out and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast out there. And don't forget, if you have a question, go ahead and email us at podcast@fantasysound.com. We're happy to tackle that question or a topic you want us to cover. We'll get on that right away. So, Jen, thank you so much. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Now That I'm Engaged, How Do I Get Married podcast, brought to you by Fantasy Sound Event Services. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. Please get in touch with me if you have a topic you would like us to cover, or if you are struggling with your wedding planning. Please be sure to submit a question at podcast@fantasysound.com. I encourage you to check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcast. And if you're a fan, we'd love if you would subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. It helps others find our podcast so they can learn from our guests too. And to everyone listening, happy wedding planning.